Most people struggle to respond when somebody asks the all too familiar question, what do you do? And because of that, they're missing out on marketing opportunities every day. My name is Kurt Stockwell, and as a StoryBrand certified guide with over 11 years of marketing experience, I've helped hundreds of businesses create marketing that actually works. You're listening to the One-Liner Workshop podcast, and in every episode, you'll learn how to create a powerful one-liner that'll make people want to do business with you.
Brian Morris is the host of Man360, a Christian television show that encourages men to be the people that God created them to be. The show lifts up and educates viewers by providing fun, informative, and faith-filled content. Brian has a unique style, and it's kind of non-traditional. So when talking about his show, Brian often struggles to explain it in a way that appeals to the traditional Christian crowd. Traditional, non-traditional, 23 or 63, Brian has a message for all men. Today, we'll help Brian create a one-liner that quickly explains the value of his show to his target audience, enticing them to tune in and grow in their relationship with Christ. Let's get started.
Hey, Brian, thanks for coming on the podcast. Looks like we got you in the RV today. Where are you at in the world?
So we are in Tulsa, Oklahoma on our travels with CTN, Christian Television Network.
Wow. Tulsa, Oklahoma. So you travel around a lot?
So I was only in town last year about 93 days back in Denver. We've traveled internationally, and then also we have a travel trailer that we take around to our stations and connect and communicate with people in our network and different things. So yeah, we just love travel, love hanging out and go connect with people. It's good.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about CTN, and then today what we're talking about is your specific show that you do on the CTN network related to Christian men. So why don't you unpack what CTN is, and let's talk a little bit about the Man360 show, as that's going to be our kind of subject matter for today.
Yeah, so Christian Television Network's been around about almost 45 years. My father-in-law started it around the same time that TBN was starting, Daystar, some of the Christian 700 Club. So we are in 24 locations around the U.S., internationally. We're on satellite as well. And just, our heart has always been for souls, for helping people take that next step closer to Christ. Our tagline is enjoy life, consider eternity. So we don't believe that we should all just, get saved and ask Jesus into our heart and lash ourselves to a pole and wait for Jesus to come back. But we want to be able to enjoy our life on this earth and then be able to, also see everything through the lens of eternity is really important for us.
So how does CTN kind of help people accomplish that?
Yeah, I think it's through a lot of different ways. I think for us, we recognize that a person in a Christian's walk with God is not just sitting in church, right? So, we don't live at church. We have to go to the grocery store. We've got to interact with people. We've got to be able to, I go hiking a lot. I have a mountain bike. I go and I enjoy going and goofing around and doing those things. But really helping people encourage and see how they can fit God into every area of their life. And that kind of sounds like the opposite, because a lot of times what we do is when we think of Christian television or we think of, Christianity in general, it's like we have to do kind of like just read our Bible and pray every day and do that all day. And it's like, it's really a walk with God is more than that. It's not just about reading your Bible and praying. It's about how am I going to apply and integrate that Bible reading and that prayer into every area of my life. And so we really try to do that with our programming. And again, Man360 is one of those programs that we do as well.
That's awesome. So the network obviously provides a programming to encourage people and to equip people for that bigger call. So Man360, tell me a little bit about Man360, and ultimately, because we're doing this one-liner exercise or the answer to the question, what do you do? What is it, and what's the biggest struggle in describing what it is?
Yeah, so Man360 is a program to help men be complete in every way through Christ, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And I think the hardest thing probably to help describe what it is it's not just interviews and just something that's more traditional. People can think it's boring. And it's like, no, we're doing it from a perspective of fun, of knowing who you are in Christ, and then also being able, again, to apply all those things in your life.
Amen. That's awesome. Yeah. Would you say there's a huge void right now, kind of in the Christian space? Do you feel like you're kind of filling a void?
Absolutely. And it's interesting because, how we promote it to people that if they have never heard of Man360, we say it's a program that if you have a non-Christian friend that just enjoys, cooking or the outdoors, those kind of things. You can bring them and sit down with them and watch the program. There's still going to be some level of God. There's going to be some level of teaching. There's going to be some level of an interview or talking about a relationship with Jesus, but it's in a way that really attracts and can be for men. I'm a follower of Christ and I'm living my best, most fun life. It's like, why can't we be that example of showing men that you can have fun?
So would you say the biggest struggle in describing Man360 would be like to a actual kind of like a old-time gospel believer, or where do you feel like you get the most like blank stares when you're talking about this show and what it is?
Honestly, this is hilarious. It probably is more in the Christian world. Father-in-law, when he asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to help me with CTN? I was like, well, we don't even watch Christian TV. So I think people that are not as familiar with Christian TV, and it's just a positive type of thing for people that are outside the church. If I was going to answer that question, it's probably more from the religious community than from the non-quote unquote religious community about what we do with the program.
Got it. So the religious community kind of doesn't get it because it's not in the normal interview format. Have a
3-point sermon.
Yeah, the 3-point sermon. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so tell me about your customer or the audience, I guess, in this context. Who's the audience?
Yeah. You can have a guy who is like 70 and a kid who's like between 12 to 14 years old, and they can have this conversation about football without there being any real generational boundaries there. Sure. It's probably like that probably 40s to later age. I think that a younger person can enjoy it again because it's more just kind of a multi-generational program just for men, just to reach men, give them a good, clean option to what's out there right now that's fun, but that still has an element of God in it.
Would you say that, so it's really men of all generations, would you say that the pain point that you address or the problem that you solve is that currently there's not a lot of good, like fun Christian content for men to be able to consume?
Yep. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things I think in Christian television. The whole concept was reaching souls. It was all about crusades. It was Billy Graham with Man360 that really helps kind of bridge that gap because it's not just exclusively a religious program. It's something that you could just enjoy just as being funny. I just don't think that there's a lot of good content for men that's not perverted. It doesn't have some type of ulterior motive or ulterior angle to it. But just to be able to enjoy life, consider eternity for CTN. That's really what we're really trying to reinforce with the program.
Got it. So if we said that, currently there's not a lot of great content for men to consume on TV, would you say like on TV, or do you frame like what people are doing as like watch online? How do you frame that?
Yeah, so we do it kind of in a tiered system. So whenever a new program comes out, we always keep that as a priority for television. And then once that's played the full cycle through television, then we put it on YouTube to be able to access.
So when you talk about the content, do you say like you can watch it on TV or online?
Yeah, we say you can watch TV or streaming.
Got it. But there is a television aspect of it too. Like they can connect to their local station.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually we have a list on the website. You have a list of all the television stations around the country.
Great website, by the way.
Thank you.
Who built that? Okay.
I don't know. Some walruses that were very well dressed.
A little pitch for a web developer.
Wah, wah. Yeah, that's right, baby.
So would we say that the problem is there's not much fun, wholesome,
non-perverted fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Online or
yeah, right. Currently, there's not much fun, wholesome content for men to watch on TV or online these days, right?
Yep. Definitely. So and again, it's just trying to figure out, where we sit with that, because we're not trying to do or reinvent anything. We're just trying to be true to what we feel like God's called us to do.
Right. Okay. So then if that's the problem, there's not great or there's not much wholesome content for men to watch on TV or online these days. Man360 solves that problem by, what do you think makes Man360 unique as far as the content that's being consumed?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of fun. It's a combination of information that we do. We actually give some informative stuff. It's not just all goofing around. Just thinking about how do we, and that we combine the fun, the spiritual, the faith aspect of what we do, and also the informational piece for men. Just having fun and just enjoying it, but also being informational.
Okay, so Man360, would you say that, do we want to mention that it's a 20-minute episode? In every 20-minute episode?
Yeah, less than 30 minutes, but it's not just one thing. There's like 3 8-minute segments or so in every program. It's a half-hour program.
So Man360 is a series of 30-minute episodes where create engaging content for men.
Mm-hmm. That's not just fun, but it's informative. It's fun, informative, and has some level of faith involved in every episode.
I'm just like eliminating words here. That's kind of the struggle. That's the fun part of this now, is you write a sentence and you start eliminating as many words as you can. So Man360 is a series of 30-minute episodes, engaging content that is fun, informative, and faith-filled.
Yeah, that's good.
Do we like that as kind of the solution, the what you create, or what you uniquely provide to solve the problem?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, cool. And then so the last part of this is describe a tangible and end result for your customer or the experience that they're going to have. So what is really kind of probably the better way to say this is, what are your raving fans, the guys who engage with this content, what do they have to say about Man360 after they've, consumed it and engaged with the content?
Yeah, we have, which is interesting. I'm going to kind of shift a little bit. We're talking specifically about men, but we also have a bunch of women that enjoy watching it just because they want to see specifically what am I going to say? How is Yolanda going to torture me with things that Brian doesn't want to do? That, they just love that element and that aspect of it. And I think just because there's not a lot out there for men content wise, I've had some wives and women that say, hey, I'm getting my husband to watch this because it's a great program. But we've actually hit some pretty important topics as well. We talked about racism. We've talked about just race relations. We talked about how to help people who've overcome loss. We talked about pornography. We've talked about, one of them was a guy who was in our church in Denver. He became a male prostitute and was selling himself for drugs and alcohol, and just had this crazy story that I shared. And he was just sharing about how God had brought him out of all of that. And somebody that had contacted him I think they saw it in Las Vegas, had contacted him through the contact information that we had put on the screen, and said, hey, I heard your testimony. I want you to help me walk out of this because I feel like I'm in a place where I'm ready to walk out of this lifestyle. And so it's interesting because I don't feel like the program is really so much about me and people saying how great they think I am. And even when you watch the program, which is hilariously not like Christian television in a lot of ways, it's like I don't talk a whole lot as the guest, because I'm like, if people are watching my program and I say I'm going to have on Tony Dungy or I'm going to have on JB Brown from CBS Sports, it's like they're not there to listen. They're not tuning in to listen to Brian Morris.
Yeah.
They're tuning in to listen to JB Brown or Tony Dungy. Yeah. And it's like, I just really want to be respectful. And because the segments are so short, I make sure that I give as much time to the guests as possible. So when you say raving fans or whatever, it's like, I don't have a lot of fans. I was recognized the first time in a mall in South Carolina. This guy kept looking at me. It was funny. And I was like, can I help you? Kind of one of those things like I thought, was he going to come want to take a swing at me or something? But he's like, do I know you? And I was like, I don't know. I said, do you watch TV? And he's like, yeah. And I said, well, do you watch Christian TV? He's like, yeah. And I said, well, do you watch Man360? He just got this really coy look on his face. And so it was just kind of funny because I don't do it to be recognized. Like, I don't really care about that, but I do care about really helping guys just enjoy the program, be able to get something spiritual out of it. We don't try to go through and try to, give men like 25 points to remember, because we don't operate that way. It's like, what's this one thing? What's this one theme that we want you to get from the program? And so we've had that too, again, with people that have told us directly, or again, just in being noticed like that in the mall, which I thought was kind of funny. So
that's hilarious. You didn't wrap it up. Did that guy like the show or he hated the show?
He took a swing at me. I was like, whoa, bro. No.
You could just leave that kind of as a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, guess you got to watch the program to see. No.
Yeah. A lot of minutes.
They'll tune in next week. Yeah, that's right.
That's a
Yeah, no, he said he loved the program. I just told him, I said, well, thanks for being a viewer of the program. And yeah, I just and it's funny too, because it's like, because I don't really care about people knowing me. I'm just Brian, right? I'm just doing my thing that God asked me to do. And it's like, God takes care of all the rest of it, just to encourage people. And I feel like we produce a good program.
Yeah. And we wrapped it up with, so men can grow in their relationship with Christ and have fun while doing it.
That's it.
I mean,
That's it, man.
Doesn't have to be much more complicated.
No.
So
well, I think the more complicated we get with guys, it's like the more it gets lost on them, because it's like, we're pretty simple beings. I don't say that in a negative way.
No,
but it's like,
yeah, it's true.
Let's focus on that one thing and enjoy it, and make it something that could be for a guy that's married, not married, all in all different phases or stages of life, where they can really enjoy the program. We try to keep it specific to that as well, not necessarily just for a married guy.
You're saying that men are pretty simple beings, and it's true in the sense, like, if you're around men's ministry at all for any short period of time in your church, the ones that are successful is you got to have like something for guys to do, and then short little bursts of moments where they can kind of connect and talk, because guys don't like to just talk for long periods of time. You got to give them things to do, which is, how we were wired, and so that's fantastic. I'm glad you're doing this. So this is what we currently have. And I think that we could kind of tweak a couple of the words to get it right. But I think for the most part, it's close. There's not much fun, wholesome content for men to watch on TV or online these days. Man360 is a series of 30-minute episodes of creative content that is fun, informative, and faith-filled, so men can grow in their relationship with Christ and have fun while doing it. I like sentence 2 and I like sentence 3, and really sentence 2 and sentence 3 could kind of be combined into sentence 1 sentence. The problem is still a little clunky for me. So let me see if I can tweak that a little bit. I think what we could say, rather than that clunky sentence that we initially came up with, what if we said something like, there's a desperate need for wholesome entertainment options catered to men?
That's perfect. That's all it is. I mean, that's really, because it's not even just like Christian. I mean, I'm the Christian version of that, right? Because I'm slipping in the God element, the God hook, but it's like just entertainment in general.
So I think we got it. And I think this is it. You ready? There's a desperate need for wholesome entertainment options catered to men. Man360 is a series of 30-minute episodes of creative content that is fun, informative, and faith-filled, so men can grow their relationship with Christ and have fun while doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, if there needs to be something in there. It's kind of like a variety show, right? We have a little interview in there. We have a cooking segment. We have things Brian doesn't want to do. We do a tech tips and tricks.
Are you feeling like the solution section of a series of 30-minute episodes of creative content that is fun, informative, and faith-filled, do you feel like that's a little weak?
Maybe the creative content piece maybe that's too general. I don't know how you'd say that. Like episodes that meet the humor and fun need, that meet a tip or trick need. So maybe you say that, even with more than just interviews, but creative content that maybe.
I absolutely understand where you're coming from, but this is the struggle with just this really simple answer to the question, is you want to fulfill all of the questions that somebody might have in their head, and you want to try to address every single one of those potential questions. All this is really getting you the opportunity for those questions to be asked. So if we're creating this one-liner that makes people go, really? Well, what do you mean by creative content?
What is that? Yeah.
What does creative content mean?
The shell game.
Yeah.
The church shell game. I just kidding.
Right. So I think having creative content in there would maybe spark somebody's interest and go, well, what do you mean by creative content? Okay. What does that mean? Then
that makes
again,
sense.
I say this almost on every episode, is the point of the one-liner is to just get you an opportunity just to give the listener an opportunity to go, that's so interesting, tell me more.
So the point of the one-liner is to get to the second liner. I just helped you.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to say it. Yeah. It's to get to a conversation, but it formulates, the problem is there's a
desperate need for wholesome content. The solution,
Yeah.
how you uniquely solve it, is creative content that's fun, informative, and faith-filled. And the result is men growing in the relationship with Christ and having fun while doing it. I think even though you're feeling like there's some missing pieces, the struggle is not to try to stuff everything into these couple sentences. So I'm going to push back and say I think creative content is okay in there because it just allows you to have a bigger narrative. So again, if we wrap it up with this, there's a desperate need for wholesome entertainment options catered to men. Man360 is a series of 30-minute episodes of creative content that is fun, informative, and faith-filled, so men can grow in their relationship with Christ and have fun while doing it.
You know what? I think I love it because Mr. Walrus told me I should love it. I'm kidding. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it resonates with you. And really the next question I would have for you is, where do you feel like you would use this first? Because the answer to the question, what do you do, is not necessarily always an answer verbally, like somebody, seeing you in the mall or somebody seeing you, just on the street. You could absolutely take this and kind of turn it into kind of a, kind of put your own little style to it. So it flows off the tongue a little bit. Sometimes when we do this exercise initially, it can feel a little bit robotic to like repeat it. So you kind of will nuance it yourself a little bit when you answer that question. But a lot of times it's not necessarily a verbal answer to the question, what do you do? When people are coming to your webpage, when people are engaging with, maybe some print material, or when people are hearing about Man360, that's where this one-liner can really resonate. So where do you feel like you would use this clear description first?
Probably the website in the about section, like where I have kind of my little spiel about what I'm doing.
I would imagine you've got material that you leave behind when you're talking with, when you're getting opportunities to meet people, that maybe that's that media hit. You can also stick this, like I said, in the signature line of your email, put it on a business card. And then obviously in so many areas right now where we can talk about our brand, there's a option for like a learn more link. And that's kind of like that's so interesting. Yeah. That learn more link gets them to a page where then you can start unpacking, like, it's not just interviews. We're doing fun stuff. It's engaging content that is easy to watch.
Yeah.
I'm glad this is
awesome.
Resonating well with you. Cool, man.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Kurt.
I'm looking forward to hearing some feedback on where this lands and how it makes a difference for you.
No, I appreciate that, Kurt. Thanks for having me on.
Well, that's all for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Follow the One-Liner Workshop wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember, businesses that succeed in today's marketplace invest in clarity and reject confusion. A great one-liner is just the first step in creating marketing that works. And if you're ready to take all your marketing to the next level, please visit welldressedwalrus.com and schedule a free consultation with me. If you'd like to learn more about StoryBrand and Donald Miller, the creator of the one-liner, check out the book Building a Story Brand wherever books are sold. I'll see you next time for the next episode of the One-Liner Workshop.